Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you what I've been working on the last couple days, and that is a new CV. Yes, this is going to be for Excalibur's August challenge. It is uh, basically the idea of it is it's an all-around CV that has a focus on combat. And it's going to be within 2.1 million CPU, at least stock, but have a lot of room for upgrades, quite a bit of upgrades actually. So base body design on this is kind of weird. It's kind of looks a little bit like an SV on the front of it, but it's a little longer, and then it kind of goes from some angled things to a roundy thing to some different angled things on the back. But it's sort of working. I'm trying to dial it in. I'm trying to tweak things out on it yet. On the body, there's like some aspects I don't like very much, like this breakup I've got going on across the side over here. It's not really fitting super well with me at the moment. And there's some other little cosmetic things I'm going to try to accomplish before it's all done. Now, I don't have the back of the ship done or the bottom of the ship done and stuff like that, so it's not all there yet. But it will. It should provide. I already got these pre-spaced out for grow plots, so I'm going to get basically 36 grow plots on each side here, and they kind of butt up to this middle hallway. But you'll have a middle hallway through the middle. I guess that makes sense, right? So a total of 72 grow plots is planned. It will have a kind of an average size hangar, I suppose, for a ship this size. And then a decent sized landing pad on the top of it for docking stuff as well. And then a couple other ideas I've got too is because I actually raised the floor up on the hangar over here. I might change the blocks here a little bit and set up an area so you can top mount some either HVs or SVs to the bottom of it as well in that lower section. I kind of tested it here with the old Scarab. This is 6 blocks tall, and even with the current blocks I've got there, can drive up underneath it and dock just fine to the bottom of it. So that gives you about 6 block leeway. Although I'm planning on bringing the block work up here at least a half a block higher, so we have a little bit more room yet, hopefully. So as in its combat abilities right now, I got a bunch of placeholder cannon turrets on here right now, but none of them are retractable. So to dial in the CPU and everything like that, I can remove these and leave placeholders, obviously, or like weapon mount point things. So I can really adjust and tweak it. And not to mention, I've got 8 artillery launchers installed into the ship right now too, and a big generator, just a single right now. It doesn't have the shield, it doesn't have the warp drive or anything else in here right now, or the shield parts, which is definitely going to be a planned thing. My plan with shield parts is I'm going to try to set this ship up to hold as many small and medium shield parts as I can fit. Basically, whatever room I've got, I'll try to at least leave placeholders so you can pop those parts in after the fact, as well as additional power and of course your additional CPU blocks and things like that. Now, where I'm really pleased on this ship right now in its present form is it's surprisingly performing better than I thought it would, which is always a good thing, right? So another ship that had the same idea as this ship is the MCRN 258. This was kind of an all-around. It's got some production. It's got some hangar space. It's got some farming. But all around kind of combat-oriented ship. Now, a different mindset building this ship, though. Obviously, was also trying to, fit in the MCRN verse or the Expanse style. But beyond that, if we take a look at the stats on here, oh, not those stats. It's still CPU compliant, so I'm happy with that. It's under 2.1 million stock. So this ship is made out of combat steel, and it's bigger than the ship that I'm working on now. But this one, if you take a look at its mass, it's 12.6 kilotons. And well, also take a look at its flight performance. Now, this is running XL thrusters. Right now, on its current setup, it's running 2 XL thrusters in each direction, giving it 37 ms in all the directions, and you can also kind of take a look at the pitch and the yaw and the roll. This particular ship allowed you to put 2 more XL thrusters for forward thrust, so you could double this number up here to 74 instead of the 37 for forward speed. But, 12.6 kilotons. So this ship over here is the steel hull. It's obviously smaller than the other ship too. It's about the same length, but it is definitely about half the height of it. This one's coming in at 1.68 kilotons. And I almost got all the hull, all the body work done. I have all the thrusters installed, and I have 16 turrets on here and 8 artillery cannons. And it's coming out at this weight. So that, if I follow the same thing, if trying to keep this lightweight and largely shield dependent rather than, block strength or, multiple layers of blocks, I don't expect the mass on this to really get much past, if even 2-3 kilotons, which is a lot lighter than the other ship, like 4 times the weight. And as you can tell right now, looking at the stats, they are surprisingly better than I thought they would be. Now, this ship isn't using any XL thrusters. They're all large thrusters, and even some medium thrusters in a couple places. And the stats are really rocking right now. Now, they're all going to go down, and there's going to be a lot more weight added to the ship. So it's possible that a lot of these stats even get to near half as where they are now. I'm not sure if that's going to be true or not, though. We'll see as the build continues. But yeah, pretty good. And especially like the pitch, yaw, and roll are also very good. So it was kind of surprising to me. I guess weight matters. So the idea of this ship is obviously you can get into it. It'll be like a mid-level ship. You can get into it without auxiliary quantum cores. I'll try to have it equipped with its weaponry well enough and shield well enough to get into some brawls, right as you get the ship. So, you'll have the ability to take on, certain levels of, combat tasks. I wouldn't say you're going to go taking on dreadnoughts or anything, stock or anything like that. Maybe the right player could pull it off. But and a lot of this, it'll be using a lot more CPU for the weaponry that's on it too. These cannons are pretty cheap with CPU and stuff like that. But yeah, it should have a decent amount of turrets. Right now it has 16 they're all forward facing. So they all have a line of sight going to the front of the ship for where you intend on attacking your victims at. I plan on getting another 6 to 8 more turrets on this before the hull is completely done. I don't know how many more will be part of the combat prowess of attacking the ship, though. The other turrets may be more defensive turrets, like more on the back side of the ship or the bottom or something like that, which won't have a great line of sight to the front. And then, obviously as many small and medium shield parts as you can. But there's another feature I was kind of looking at this, thinking I want to do on this one, and it's got a average size hangar. But let's say because you also have a landing pad and a potential another area if you have a vehicle that can park down here at least. You have some more room to put some things. So how do I explain this? So the hangar would look like a normal hangar. Probably have some production off to the sides of the front over there somewhere. I'll figure out where the production's actually going to go yet. But I might put in some kind of low-key markings on the floor that is basically to allow you to place a fusion reactor as well as 3 large shield parts. So as an upgrade option, you could do that. You would sacrifice your hangar. You wouldn't be able to park anything in your hangar at that point in time, but you could have well over 100,000 shield and really start getting into some more endgame combat with it. So that's kind of the idea of it, and it's going to be largely shield dependent. I don't plan on building this super tough. I don't plan on reinforcing a lot of things, adding a lot of weight to it. I do, however, plan on adding a secure bridge or like an alternative place to pilot the ship that is not at the front of the ship, so much further back, somewhere in the ship. I'm not sure exactly where that's going to be yet, but I'll at least have a pilot seat. I don't know if I'm going to build a whole like room structure for that or not, but as I'm trying to keep the weight down on this. And then on storage, I'm planning on having it have 6 to 8 320K storage space in it. Obviously, one or two of those, probably two of those, might be dedicated for ammo, and the others would be just open. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to fit in there yet. It's not going to have much in fluff at all. It'll have the standard features you'd expect on a regular CV. You know, your grow plots, your production, probably a medical bay, other little utility stuff. You know, your armor lockers and repair. Probably have a place for a repair bay, stuff like that. So general purpose with a definite focus on combat. And it should be pretty quick and agile ship. Hopefully, it's a little more fuel efficient than some of the other ships I made as well, because it's just not running near as much heavy thrusters and stuff in it, or the XL thrusters. So I just wanted to show you that and see what you think. And then keep in mind, everything's subject to change yet, as this is just kind of, I'm still in the process of trying to work out the hull. And there are some little issues I've got with it here and there that I'm going to try to improve upon before it's all finished and stuff. So that's cool. I wanted to show you that. Now something else I wanted to show you, and this is going to lead to a little bit of complaints. And I just wanted to, I'll try to keep it minimum. I kind of got over it, but right before I was doing this video, I noticed something. I wanted to show the final version of the MX6. I know it's been on the workshop, so you could have checked it out for days already, but there's some new bugs that came to be. And basically what I wanted to show you is the fact that I did add spotlights to it. I put 2 in the back, and then there's another one up over here. But that led me to seeing 2 pretty nasty bugs. For one, the spotlights are no longer paintable. I don't know when this patch came out, because I didn't see it when I released this ship, either of these 2 bugs. So these have to be very recent. So you can't paint the spotlights anymore. They're supposed to be the color that I'm trying to paint it right now, this shade here. And beyond that, they look like they're on, right? They look like they're on, but you know what? Here, let's just look at this individual one here. Oops. There. So I'll turn it off. Okay, this spotlight is off. Looks like it's on, right? Looks like it's on. Here, I'm going to go to night. Just want to well document this. I hope it's just a quick bug that they patch up pretty quickly here. But let me turn it back on. Obviously, you can't paint it, so we know that already. But let's go here, and I'll turn it to active. But beyond not being able to paint it, it also doesn't work now. So the spotlights are dead. You can't paint them, and they don't actually function as spotlights any longer. So hopefully, it's an obvious bug. So hopefully that gets fixed up. I know it's not a feature. Okay. And the next thing, and this particular new bug really irritates me a lot. And I'm not going to lie about that one. And it has a lot to do with the way I build things and the way I texture most of the creations that I make. And it has to do with the alignment of these textures. If you followed my builds, and you see, like, most of my builds are probably made with the smooth metal texture, and I do this particular process where I leave a lot of the squares, and I get rid of a lot of, like, what I like to call the riffraff, the weird angle lines that don't go anywhere, kind of thing, like this. I don't like to see that on a creation. It drives me nuts, actually. Kind of OCD, because this makes no logical sense. Why would any real creation in the real world have weird seam lines like this that don't, like, go anywhere? And I hate that. So I get rid of all those by blotting them out with the smooth metal texture. And I find the ones that are like some squares to get in there to add some surface detail, which I think makes quite a bit of difference. But if it's all smooth, it starts to look a little too voxely. When you get some lines in there, it kind of it breaks that up, and I think it just makes it look a little bit more realistic. And that's why I've done it for a very long time. on, again, most of my creations. But what has happened now is the game totally forgot the alignment of all these textures. So every time you respawn it, it just throws out whatever, and any of the work that was done to clean up all the lines and jaggies and make it all look right is now gone. And I thought, and I tested this in vanilla as well to make sure it was a vanilla problem and not a Reforged Eden problem. And it is true. It is a vanilla problem. The same thing happens in vanilla. And it's not just this creation. I spawned in a couple other creations, like this one I was, very adamant on doing the same thing with, and it's got all the weird jaggy lines and the stuff all over the creation as well. Then I spawned in the fairly recent Proxima, same thing. And if you followed this build, you realize that I was even more intent on not having too many jaggy lines and stuff like that, trying to keep the smooth hull. Instead, went for a lot of changing of the color. But literally, like every place that might have had a nice line or a square it's all messed up. The entire inside and outside of the ship. In fact, almost everything that I've made is all not displaying right. So again, I hope this is just a real temporary little bug. This was a problem with the game in a very early stages, and they fixed it. And I was really, really happy they fixed it. Really allowed for a lot better texturing to be done and stuff like that. And it has now returned, which is really unfortunate. And all I can hope for is this is a temporary return. If it goes on the way the windows have been, and keep in mind the windows are still broken. So again, here's a window. I'm trying to paint it red. Can't paint it red. If it goes on like the window thing, which has been going on for I don't even know how long now, months at least. This one's gonna really bother me. Is all I got to say. I really want this one fixed pretty soon. I'm hoping it's just an error with the setting change or something that was done. I don't even know when this patch came in, but all I know now is it totally lost it with its alignment of textures. When you're using like your multi-texture, like your base big texture sets, basically. So that's disturbing, and that's going to affect this new creation as well. It's basically, I can texture this one that I'm working on and make it all super nice and aligned, but as soon as I respawn it, or if I put it on the workshop and someone else respawn it, it's going to be all messed up. And that's more important to me than the windows, the blast doors, the messed up elevators, the non-working spotlights. It's the most important of all these new introduced bugs to the game. These bugs they just keep coming, man. But there is one bug that I did see get fixed up though, and I will make mention of that. Back when I was building the Proxima, the bottom of these kind of ramp doors were going invisible. They have now returned, and so that does seem to be fixed. Even at a distance, they don't seem to disappear the way they were. So that I'm happy to say is fixed. However, there's a plethora of new issues. And one last closing comment here on this one is this game. It's been in development for a long time. I've been building for it for I think I crossed over 5 years recently. And, it's went through a lot of changes and things like that. And this entire time, they've had an experimental version. And that's their version that they can mess with stuff. If they don't get something right, they put it up experimental. Maybe they get some feedback on that. They can correct it. And then it's supposed to get all that stuff corrected. And then they put out the public or the main version. If you bought the game and you downloaded it and didn't select any special options, you would get the main version of the game. Well, that's what I'm in, is the main version. I'm not in the experimental version of the game. So therefore, all these weird little bugs and things that are happening here in the main version, I don't know how they're getting here. I don't know where the breakdown is. They have an experimental version. When you test stuff and you put stuff out there, you try to work out these problems, and these are glaringly obvious, in your face kind of problems. They're not like you got to like jump twice and do a backflip off something to trigger it. No, no, this is just like, okay, as soon as I spawn in any creation, I'm seeing the problem. I don't know how this makes it to the public version. This should be well contained in the experimental version. That's what it's for. So that kind of annoys me as well, that we keep on getting all these new bugs thrown into the game on like the full release build version. And somehow, does experimental not exist anymore? Is like a thing of the past? Did they abandon that? I thought that was a really good idea. I mean, so they don't have to be as picky. They can try things out and see what shakes and get some feedback on it, and then fix it, and then figure out what they want to keep, and whatever, and then put it out to the main version. But that does not seem to be taking place. If it is, they got no one actually checking on anything or giving them any feedback. And honestly, with any software company, granted, we're a pretty nice community. We build a lot of stuff for this game, and there's obviously some pretty some modders out there, like Reforged Eden and stuff, that put a extraordinary amount of work into actually making the game a better game, from the inside out, kind of adding new stuff and new parts and stuff. And all this is going on, but yet it seems like the breakdown has been consistently been from the actual creators of the game itself. Like I tested this stuff here in vanilla as well. It's and basically I can say that this isn't a Reforged Eden problem. The texture misalignment and the freaky windows and the other stuff, that is not Reforged Eden. That is the base game, and it's not in the experimental. Well, it could be in the experimental game, but it's certainly in the full release game. I stopped using the experimental game a long time ago because it would get me in trouble if I released stuff that was built in the experimental, and I abandoned that. So basically, I'm just patient now, and I'll wait for like a new thing that comes in the actual game before I actually start building for anything for the workshop. But I wanted to point that out because I'm starting to think it's getting a little bit, I'm a little bit tolerant on some things, but there's too many things, and it just seems to be getting worse. It doesn't seem to be getting better. In fact, I think the game was in better condition. I'm not talking Reforged Eden. I'm talking the base game, vanilla game, was in better condition a year ago than it is now. Now the lighting took a nosedive. We haven't got any a lot of past things fixed up. The elevators have been wonky now. The armored glass is wonky. Now the spotlights. Now the texture misalignment wackiness. It's just like, yeah, the game was better before. So I don't know really what's going on there. But all I can hope is that they address these issues and do it as quickly as possible. I mean, maybe some of these are kind of difficult to fix. I wouldn't think they should be, but maybe they are. I don't know, the background coding or the structure or the layout of the whole project integrated with the Unity engine. Maybe there's an update on the Unity engine or something like that. There could be a lot of weird, wacky things going on, but at the end of the day, it's their product. They're the ones that are selling this product to the public, and they are ultimately responsible for their product. And what I'm seeing constantly is, not the kind of stuff you want to see in anybody's development at all. And it shouldn't happen in the first place. These kind of issues that we're seeing here should not happen ever. I don't care if it's an indie team or not. It shouldn't happen. There's something wrong with the system on what you're doing to develop the game, and please fix it. All I got to say is patience is certainly wearing thin on it, and if this latest issue, for me particularly, does not get fixed, and I'll give you a month, and that's if it doesn't get fixed and this textures just kind of remain this way and the broken glass stays that way and the all this stuff just stays that way, um, I cannot with good faith support this product any longer. Basically, I'm just saying I'm gone. Um, not that anybody would really particularly care, but it's just enough is enough. And man, and for the amount of things that I really try to do for this game, with the both with videos, with all these builds, I don't make anything from this. I mean, I'm just doing it because I think it's a cool game. It has this really awesome idea, and I was really hopeful earlier on that it could achieve some level of what I would envision to be a dream game, because I had an idea of a game that was kind of in some ways similar to this one, especially with the building and the exploration. But of course, I wanted some other things a little different in it. But um, it was a really good idea, and that's why I kind of got hooked in it in the first place. And the all these problems in things that have been making the game worse. Just it's not the first time. It's not the first time. It's been one of the most buggy game developments I've ever seen in my life. Um, they have uh, they have the other experimental version. It, for that kind of thing, and you would expect this kind of thing in the experimental version. But you know what? This isn't, and you shouldn't have to deal with this. All us players that do this product and want to support it, and you know uh, donate to the workshop or whatever. Um, shouldn't have to deal with this constantly. This is just negligence. This is just a failed system here, I guess. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. Period. Not to this extent. Kind of forgiving if you screw up something here and there and didn't catch it. I get that. Comes up later. Oh yeah, okay. Didn't even realize that was happening, kind of thing. But man, this isn't that. This is not that situation. So okay, sorry about ranting. I warned you. I warned you I was going to rant a little bit. Um, and that's my opinion. I really try to be honest with everybody. The game has amazing potential, but the execution, especially as of the last year, has been. I don't even want to comment anymore. You know my opinion. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.